1.5. Here we go.
Hey!
How are you guys doing today?
We are great. We are excellent.
Awesome.
We're excited to be here. It's an honor to be on Manning the Grill.
Oh my God. Honor my mess. Kristen, how you doing?
I'm super.
Nice. All right. So my wife was reluctant. Everybody, welcome to Manning the Grill, episode 5 of 52, my live stream lunch live stream cast. Today's topic is a fun one. This is very specific and kind of close to me. I've got four really good friends. I hear Phoebe in the background there. Zach and Allie Figiel, the Realty from A to Z team at Realty Executives, Cooper Spronze, and my better half, my wife. And we're going to talk about working from home with your spouses during quarantine. I asked Zach and Allie specifically because, let me see if I can figure out how to get this thing to share. Well, first off, just look at them. They're so dang cute.
Oh my goodness. Look at those kids.
Right?
The kids.
Let me see if I can zoom in on that just a little bit. So this picture is kind of cute to me because, and I asked you guys specifically for a specific reason. I saw your entire courtship, right? I'm invested in your relationship because I remember it happening, and maybe you guys remember it too, right? For those watching, all of us used to work at Keller Williams together, and Zach was on a team. Allie was the director of first impressions, if I'm not mistaken. That was the dorky term they gave you back then. You get it first. And she was in charge of onboarding new agents, and getting their emails set up and training portals and blah, blah, blah. And somewhere along the line, she went into the production side. She left that front desk and went to the production side. And I'm giggling because that office was so hilarious. We were in that back corner, and it was me in the corner. I was squatting, right? Because they wanted me to pay. And I was like, no. It's like, I'm saying it's like, no. And then it was Andrew Willits, and then Allie, and then Aaron Vienna, if I'm not mistaken, right? Mm-hmm. And I just remember that. And Dan would sit in that little glass room. Remember, he would compliance in that glass room on the right. And I just remember it vividly. Like, just us talking all the time, chatting and sports. And Zach would pop out of the, what was that team? Madison Neighborhoods team. Pop out of the office and sit with Allie and flirt and all this little stuff. And then you broke up for a while.
Very dramatic.
Yeah, there was some drama.
Yep. And then you got back together. And then you fast forward 5 years and you got this cute picture of you guys. You got your real estate team. You got a baby, little Phoebe, cute as a button. And I appreciate you sharing. I always giggle, right? Because I always tell my wife, like, I don't know why I spend all this time working on these social media posts, because the only people who see them are real estate agents. No, that's awesome. But I appreciate you guys sharing all the images of Phoebe, because I've never met her. I think I've seen her once, but I feel like I know her, right? It's awesome. The reason it's familiar to me is my wife and I had a very similar courtship. 2000, we worked at the same company, and I worked in the first floor. She worked on the second floor. And I would sneak up there, between coffee breaks and whatnot, and sit at her little cubicle. And everyone used to make fun of us and giggle. And, oh my God, you guys are so together.
That's awesome.
Oh, there she is.
There she is. Say hi, honey. That's awesome. That is just like us.
Right?
Yeah.
Just got sharing. So what do you think, Kristen? What did you courtship wise, when I courted you, what were you thinking? How did you?
We were. I think the saying sounds like familiar. We were friends for a long time. I mean, we hung out. We went. I don't know. He came over and watched Ally McBeal, and we would hang out or go get drinks.
No. You would come to me to watch Ally McBeal because I had a washer and dryer.
I did use him for his laundry. I did free laundry. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of cool when you're friends for a long time, and then, I don't know, you have some margaritas and you look at them differently. So.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
You get the margaritas.
Yep. So.
Dirty gritas. So at that point, we've been propelled into this whole pandemic thing, right? And you guys, it's interesting. We have a 13 and a 10-year-old kids, so we're a little obviously ahead of you. By the way, Reese can babysit anytime you need. Just let me know. Red Cross certified. Got that plug in there.
That's awesome.
And you guys have how old is Phoebe?
She'll be 18 months, I think, right?
Yep.
You kind of get the months get kind of lost. So a year and a half.
Okay, and so she was about 9 months old when the pandemic hit, right? This whole thing started.
About right. Yeah,
7.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our stories should be parallel but slightly different, right? What's it been like working with a baby, and doing our jobs with a baby in the house, right?
Yeah. So going back before
she's
the
awesome.
pandemic,
Look at her. She's so awesome.
well, Allie and I used to do everything together. So we would go on showings together. We would go to inspections together. We would do closings together. Like we were just every day, just like joined at the hip. We were just Allie and Zach. We're working with you. So once Phoebe came along, we couldn't do that as much. We did when she was a little baby. We'd bring her in her car seat, and it would just be the three of us going to showings, and it was a blast. But as she started getting older, that wasn't we couldn't really do that. So we had to redefine our roles. And Allie we started doing things that we like more, because I like the showings. I like the out and about and interacting with people. And Allie's really, really, really strong and really good at like the client care, the behind the scenes, the organizing, the spreadsheets, all that stuff that I hate and drives me crazy. So like having a baby like forced us into those roles. We didn't have a choice.
And I think the pandemic too, like
Oh,
otherwise
yeah.
we'd probably still try to bring her some places,
She'd be coming to the office
we're
at
all
least.
about the family business idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
But the pandemic became really difficult in the beginning because we're fortunate that we have both of our moms live in town here. And so we would bring Phoebe over to grandma's essentially, and they would watch her and we would get work done. But once the pandemic hit, it was just us three. And so being able to like balance and focus and figuring out who's working and doing what at what time was very stressful and challenging.
And she didn't sleep at all.
Oh, and she didn't sleep.
How does she sleep now? Does she sleep at all now?
Better.
Yeah, much
I don't
better.
want to jinx it. Knock
Yeah,
on
don't
wood.
jinx it. Can you knock on wood, honey?
She's awesome. I love her.
Yeah.
So you guys were already, like you said, joint at the hip. Use that term, joint at the hip. So you guys were already accustomed to doing that stuff. You obviously like doing that stuff together, right?
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Okay.
All right, Kristen. We were never joint at the hip. We don't see creatively. We're not the same. Mentally, we're opposites. We're yin and yang. I'm the black kind of weird question mark, and she's the white kind of weird question mark, right? We're literally yin and yang, and it works for us. Tell them your experience of this whole thing happening and pandemic starting, and ours is different because we have virtual schooling. So you guys had a baby, you wouldn't sleep, but we had kids in school, and that whole mess that ensued, is still happening with schools and etc. What was your experience when? And I know exactly what I hope you say, but what was your experience when we went into this pandemic and the kids were home with your husband working near you?
I mean, now or then?
Then both. Make it one story.
I mean, we're very crowded here. I mean, we moved during the pandemic because we realized how tight we were and just we needed space. So there's good and bad. I would say that like our kids are older, so they can do a lot of the stuff on their own. Like the 13-year-old is pretty self-sufficient with school.
Mm-hmm.
The 10-year-old, though, it's like you're a assistant to a 10-year-old. I have a Post-it with all his Zoom times that he needs to be on Zooms like 5 times a day. And he's good at it, but not always. And then, I don't know, Lane's here bebopping around and he can't sit still and can't sit at a desk where I'm like hunkered down at one spot with all my papers. He's got no papers and he's just taking calls in the kitchen and the living room. And then, I don't know, I could go on and on. I mean, I'm a morning person and that's where I need to get working and going. Lane is more of a late day worker where I'm done. And so and that's kind of different. He wants to talk in the morning and I'm like, I got meetings, I have calls. And then like 3, 4 o'clock, I kind of start asking him things and he's heads down and work. So was that kind of what you were thinking?
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking, like, I remember when the pandemic first started and I was still going to work. So Zach and I know this, right? When all the training that we went through, I find better success when I actually go to an office.
Yeah.
Pour a cup of coffee, sit at the desk. That's just a desk, right? Not my basement desk. And I'm a lot more productive that way. The problem with that, when the pandemic started in virtual schooling, was that my wife, who has to hanker down at a desk, was stuck with 2 kids. Granted, the 13-year-old kind of takes care of herself, but she's still a 13-year-old female. That's for a whole nother episode. and Phoebe's gonna be there. I can see it right now, man. She's gonna have that little girl in her, right? And then Miles, who's our 10-year-old, is just like she said. You're a personal assistant for his, a 10-year-old. You want some apple slices before you get on your Zoom call, sir? Can I help you get on this call? That kind of thing. And so that was one of the biggest adjustments for me personally. Was if I didn't stay home and help her with these things, I heard about it after 5 when I was hoping to have
I would be I would be crabby when you come home because he's been off in an environment away from the house, and it never shuts down if you're just here working and being a parent. Neither one of them, when you leave work usually, and maybe not realtors, but for me, I could leave work and leave it, but
right.
Both are always on kind of here. Your computer is always available and open, and you see an email and it's 7 o'clock, but you could react because it's just sitting there.
Shit, we have to react. We might not get a listing if you don't get one, right? So that's the difference. That's one of the things we've been adjusting with.
Different fields.
Yeah, totally. That's one of the things we've been adjusting with. But I think we're getting along, wouldn't you say, Kristen? I think we're getting along. We've got a little happy space in there.
Sure.
When you're in the basement, yes, because you're a loud person, Lane.
Thanks, honey. I love you too. That's a perfect segue. So, Zach and I know you guys spent a lot of time together. Took Phoebe to showings and stuff, and that's really easy to do when they're young. I'm telling you right now, when they get older and they get weary. Actually, I will say this on a side note. One of the things Miles did at a couple of my showings when I did take him, he watched the buyer's kid. There was one moment when he was playing with him. They were upstairs, and there was a stairwell, and the kid was getting close to the stairwell. And Miles, my son, who was like, "Who are you? What have you done, my son?" went and picked the kid up and moved him away from it. I'm like, "Holy cow!" So there's also those moments. But what I was going to say is, you guys work together a lot. You've been doing a lot. You took your baby. There's got to be something that the other does that drives the other one absolutely batty.
Absolutely.
Not the whole list, just one from each of you. Go.
What do you think? Do you want to go first?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but it's like if we now
the whole plethora of things combined into one.
Like now that we have defined our roles, and I do certain things and Zach does certain things, if we are working on the same thing at the same time, we have very different views of how that thing should be done. So that's kind of all encompassing with everything, I guess. We need to stick to what yesterday you were doing a Facebook ad.
I was trying to do a Facebook ad, and that's Allie's department.
Oh, snap.
And we were arguing about it.
Yeah, it wasn't going very well.
Yeah, it didn't go
well. We were having creative differences.
Yeah. What was your thing?
The Johnson batting?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I get really distracted very easily, and this isn't really an Allie thing, but more of a me thing. But I guess it's kind of it's a parenting thing where it's I kind of need my own room, office space. I need no one to bother me, no one to talk to me. When I need to focus, I get too distracted. So that's just a challenge of working from home. Is if I'm working at the door and then I hear a knock on the door, and some people want to come visit me here, and I'm like, you guys are driving me crazy. I've been here for 10 minutes. No way.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
But I think we're very fortunate actually that there aren't a lot of things that really drive each other crazy. Is there? Specifically? As long as we stay in our lane.
Yeah. If
we stay in our lane and we do our own roles, things go better. But it's when we try to step on each other's toes that things get a little weird.
Sure. And I think that goes on with life, in general, with a marriage period.
Sorry.
No, she's awesome. I love it.
See, we'll work with it. She's great. We're going to mute ourselves so you can talk.
Okay.
She's fine. How about you, Kristen?
No, I mean, the staying in your lane, I think that totally, I agree. We're the same way. I just think, the things that may not notice normally, just get amplified and just, because there's no break. I already said the loudness or my lane, just like his work style is so different than mine. Me too. I need to hunker down. I can't tune him out. He can tune everyone out. So, I mean,
this morning I literally got yelled at for typing too loud. How do I
too loud, typing too loud?
I breathe. Stop breathing.
So yeah, he can tune everything out, and I can't ignore it. So
that's exactly like us too. Like, I cannot read with someone talking in my ear, but Allie can like read and write and type, and I'm talking to her. It's crazy. I'm like, how do you do that? Yeah. She starts to talk while I'm reading. I'm like, you stop talking. I can't read this with you talking.
Stop talking. All right, no. So Kristen, your annoyance with me.
Oh, nothing, Lane. You're perfect. I'm kidding. No, I just think, our work styles are just very different, and like, you don't see it normally. Like Monday, like you guys work over the weekend all weekend. So by Monday, maybe that's your like chill down, relax. I don't know, decompress a little Monday on Mondays, but that's like a busy day for me because I've got so much I didn't get done from last week or work. And so just Lane's style, and he's just sleeps in and I'm up and I'm going, and like, I don't know, all that stuff, you just see it more now because you're both in the house together. If I went to work, I don't know what Lane does on Mondays, but now I know exactly, like, because I hear all the calls because I can't tune anything out. So I think it's different too. I was thinking about, normally you get home and you kind of have different things to talk about. Maybe not you two because you're working together all the time, but normally I'd want to hear about Lane's day and who's buying a house and who's did he get a new listing from. But I literally know it all. Like, I know he just had a call just before this call about a new buyer. Like, I don't need to ask anything about work anymore.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can see that.
I hear it and I don't try to tune it out, but I know what he's doing. So that part's a little different, which kind of good and bad. I mean, it eliminates that conversation about how work is going because I usually know.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
So I don't have a complaint about working with Kristen. I have that's awesome. That's awesome.
This is part of our daily routine.
No, this is the fun part, dude. Like I said, this is
right before this call. I was gonna say right before this call, Miles ran downstairs. He's like, lunch, and it was 10:30, and I'm like, hey, it's 10:30. How is it lunch? And I don't know. It's like you're a short order cook. Just
like our short order cook. No, and don't worry about Phoebe. When I started in real estate, Reese was 6. And so that used to be the fun part of taking her to showings if you guys remember, I used to bring her to open houses because like no one can say no to a cute little curly headed girl about getting your name, right? And email address. So keep going, right? I don't have a complaint about working with my wife. I actually am impressed. She actually motivates me, right? Because she is so at it, up and at 'em and bang, 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 bang. And I see what she does on a daily basis, and I appreciate the things that I don't have to do a lot more. For instance, like she just said, I'll worry about lunches. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm behind schedule as it is, right? And as realtors, we have to take on so much stuff, just so many hats, right? I'm advertising. I got to do your showing. I got to write the contract and amendment and blah, 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 blah. And, I think the quarantine has made us make it work a lot better. Mm-hmm. That makes sense whatsoever, right? On that said, Zach and I, how has this made you guys stronger? So you were already attached to the hip, you said. You already had a kid, was going there. With COVID and everyone's fears about it. And, one of the struggles with our job is that from the time this thing started, we were still showing new people houses, right? We were still going in. At the end of the day, we have to go into a house to do a listing appointment. You wouldn't dare put a price on a house without going in it. How has it made you stronger, and or how have you guys adjusted your business since you already work together so much and Phoebe's growing? How have you adjusted moving forward?
Well, for me, it's kind of like what I said earlier, but it was amazing how it forced us to define our roles, because that was huge. It's made our business incredibly more efficient.
Interrupt you real quick. You have a coach too, right? You have a business coach as well, right?
We have a business coach.
So when you say it forced us to define our roles, was that not something already being instructed to you in your coaching, or no?
Well, that's the thing, yeah, Lane. So like it was, and so this is something where like we were talking about doing it for so long, like for like a year, and we just didn't do it. And so that's been the beautiful thing about the pandemic, and then having Phoebe is like it forced us. It's like we have to do it now, and things have gotten better because of it. It's like I think our business definitely is like a well-oiled machine. We have a process. It's like things are getting done consistently, and so very few things are slipping through the cracks when it comes to advertising and what have you.
Sure.
And at the same time, being fully transparent, like we had a really bad year last year.
Yeah.
In our business, and which is really hard because we had the best year ever in 2019.
Right.
Yeah. So I hope that makes us stronger. We're still recovering from it. You know,
you got knocked down.
We did.
But you're supposed to get up again, they say.
Yes, which is really hard. So it was a really like humbling year for us in the real way, not like the humble brag way.
Yeah. When you win an award and you say, I'm so humble. You're, like, you're humble.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're humble because we did bad.
Yeah. So I think it helped us like, okay.
Oh, honey.
I think that, you know, the things that we did in 2018, 2019 are not going to work now. And so we have to be committed to change all the time.
Yeah, and pivoting.
Oh, God, don't say that word. I hate that word. It's adjustment. Now, did you guys buy your house last year or year before?
Yeah, we bought our house last year. We closed April 1st. So we got an accepted offer right before, you know, everything locked down. We got an accepted offer early March.
That's right.
And yeah, we closed in the beginning of April. And you know what we did? Because everything was so unknown, we didn't rent a U-Haul. We didn't have movers. We had my mom's minivan, and we moved everything in my mom's minivan and our CRV. And with Phoebe, because again, no one was watching Phoebe. So over the course of a month, we were able to move our entire place in just a minivan and like a CRV with a car seat in it. So
that's awesome.
We don't recommend it, but that's, you know, an example of working together in a personal situation.
Sure, and that would completely explain why you're a little off in the year, right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
Pandemic was a blip. You were moving, all the stuff you had to do to move, all the stuff you did after, et cetera, et cetera.
And Phoebe wasn't sleeping, and we just lost momentum. I mean, I think that's the real thing is like we had such good momentum in 2019, and then everything, we just kind of lost momentum, and we were like, you know what, let's just kind of coast, and that came back to bite us.
Sure. So my story is slightly similar. I ran for Man of the Year last year.
That's right. You won
Man of the Year. And that was a 10-week campaign. I knew it was going to be a little bit weird with business, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't expect the pandemic to pop in there right away. And then, so like you said, coast, right? I was like, oh, woe is me. The world is falling. Oh, my God. And then real estate was south anyway. You're like, oh, my God, what do we do? Remember the kids were at the table. Remember that, Kristen? We were at the table. We were wrapping large and extra large latex gloves in little baggies, little sandwich baggies to take to showings that first month. Remember, because everyone's afraid to touch anything, but they were still showing houses and they'd be saying, "Oh yeah." So we were doing that stuff, and anyway, it was just weird, that blip. And then we got back on it. Things were happening again, and then we decided to move. And we had been thinking about it for a while, but I had COVID. Like I was infected. And my daughter was infected while we had an offer before I wanted to sell the house. Like I had this whole time frame, work on the house, and we drywall and just some stuff, right? Just staging, painting, etc. All that happened while we were infected with COVID. So I listed the house with no one could see it. It was listed live, but no showings were available. And everyone's calling why. And I'm like, you can't come in until after this day.
Wow.
And I was trying to, it's funny. I think it's a funny story because that's a real estate agent selling his own house and what I did to kind of get around that, right? And the people who actually bought it, they kind of pushed their way in. I'm like, here's the deal. And they're like, that's all right. We don't care. We'll wear masks, et cetera, et cetera. And that's how it ended up getting done, right? But that was towards the end of the year because it happened in November. So
yeah,
just a real strange setup. But yeah, that said, what do you guys see going forward? What do you guys see 2021 coming out for your business? How do you think it's gonna work out for you? How's it starting?
Yeah, we're starting off well. We are
good.
We're getting we're getting back in motion for sure. And like you said, we have a business coach, and we're really we're just refocusing. You know, 2020 was just a year where we're just gonna write it off. We're gonna move forward and hope for the best. And we're going to try not to complain about how the market is ridiculous and how we have so many buyers that can't get houses. But hey, if you're watching this and you own a house, you need to sell that house right now. call Lane, call me, call Allie. You got to move. We're going to show up with the sign because you're going to make a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, really, there was an offer. There's a house yesterday, Lane, you probably saw. Joe Long posted 47 offers. Like that's what we're looking for.
Yep. I can't tell you what we just did. So last year this time, I had 5 that I got all in Q1, not business coming from 19 into 20. It was all business generated in the first quarter of 20. 5 under contract, right? First quarter. I have 2, and one of them's a listing. The other one's my first AO I got last Sunday. Yep. I wish I could tell you the details of how stupid we had to get the house, but they had to get stupid, right? And that's just kind of where it was. And they were losing out. I wrote one with Tucci. I think it was 27 offers he had. We were one of 27 offers, and another one's 16, another 18. One of them at 34. Like it's just at that certain price point, stupid. So sell your house. I got a bunch of signs in my garage. Yeah, signs are just collecting dust. We need to get these out there, right? So get out. All right, so we're at 26. I want to keep it at 30. In closing, I'm going to give you an opportunity to dote on your daughter. We know why your daughter's awesome. We've been seeing it for the past 15 minutes, right? What? And Kristen, you can do the same thing about our kids. What is your favorite thing in being a parent in the 18 months that you've learned about young Phoebe there, or being a parent?
Well, I really like that she's like becoming a kid. It's like crazy that like how quickly she develops and then just like becomes like a person.
Cover your mouth, girl. Cover your mouth.
Like she's like starting to talk and say words, and like she's like she's matching things. So like she says pickle, which is our cat's name, but then like when she sees a cat, she'll match it. She'll say cat. Like when she sees, you say pickle. Pickle. Yeah. Pickle.
My favorite thing is that now I get to like play with dolls and like.
Oh yeah, she plays with toys. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's fun. We don't like the baby stage.
Yeah, babies are kind of meh. No offense if you're a baby and you're watching this.
But look at the cool shirt I get to wear.
Yeah, she's a cool mom.
Cool mom. That's awesome.
Nice. How about you, Kristen? What's something you've learned about your kids during COVID or something you're proud of?
I think, I try to remember having a 13-year-old, if it wasn't during this time, she would be gone all the time. She'd be at friends, sleepovers, gone, which is great. I'm trying to remember, like, it's pretty cool that we are so, like, we get this much time with her. Family dinners, like, and you get sick of it, and you're like, we're eating together again. But, 13-year-olds, 8th grade, middle school, like, I know what's going on with her so well. So good or bad, and it gets to be a lot sometimes, but I think that's a cool thing to get that opportunity. I'm sure there's seniors that are missing out on all kinds of cool things, but they're also like getting all this time with their parents before they go. Weird and crazy, but you don't want to miss those things, but try to see the good. And Miles, I know it ebbs and flows. Like in the beginning, we were like life lessons, like he's going to learn how to do this, and we're teaching him this. We just taught him how to use the stove, and he learned how to use a wheelbarrow, and what else did he learn? Like life lessons, cleaning toilets. Like these are things that he probably should just know anyway, but like we have nowhere else to go. So we're teaching him things that he should know how to do. So I don't know.
I like it.
It's definitely working with children. I see my coworkers, the same deal. The ones that have littles, it's so much harder. So I'm lucky that most of the time our kids are binging on technology too much and we're able to work, but you guys have a lot more on your plate with that. I would say.
Sweet. Thank you. What I would say is, and Allie and Zach, this might be a little piece for you. Put as many pictures as you can of your kid on Facebook, because those memories are awesome. And like you'll forget what the kids look like. And it's funny, you don't think you will. You have photographs on your house, but until you see a Facebook memory come up, like of something that happened 5 years ago, and you're like, oh my God, he was so skinny. Or oh my God, look at his afro. Or oh my God, look at this, right? Those are the greatest little memories you have, right? I'll say this, there's always good and bad in everything, right? So my kid found Fortnite during quarantine, which I despise. And yet in that, I've found that he learns how to learn. He figures things out watching YouTube, which is actually in our world, right? Because we get a lot of training classes via YouTube. I hate doing those kind of classes. I'd rather write it down and take a real course, right? But watching him learn things, how to improve his Fortnite game or reprogram stuff. He's a Purdue fan. He's got a whole team on whatever the basketball game, whatever the Xbox basketball game is, a whole Purdue team.
NBA
like, team is Purdue. Yeah, NBA 2K, right? He's got the court is Purdue. Like, he learned how to do that himself. I didn't teach him that. And I didn't even condone it, right? Just watching him learn new things a different way is kind of very interesting. I'm hard on him a lot, but for the most part, he's a really, really good kid. And like I said, those Facebook memories, I'm really appreciating those a lot more during this time and watching him and do stuff. And we're taking our trip. We just planned a trip. So obviously none of us did anything last year, but we planned our summer trip this year for spring break, which we've never done. And I'm not a spring break trip taker. I generally don't do that, but we haven't been anywhere. We've been in this house since November, but the house before that, all quarantine. Like, we got to go somewhere. And I'm really looking forward to another family trip because we've had all those memories pop up of us taking vacations together and how much fun we've had. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that again with the family. And like she said, it gets redundant, but God, I'm going to appreciate it. Because like Reese, we literally don't see her. She barely even eats, right? But we don't ever see her. You got to go peel her out of her room. And that is only going to get worse as she gets older. So cool beans, guys. I thank you so much for your time. We're at 30 minutes. I really appreciate you jumping on for episode 5, giving your comments. I'm going to put your link. Actually, I'll do it right now. I'm going to put your link in the comments section.
That's funny, honey.
Do you want to give everyone a kiss, honey?
See, this video will pop up in a couple of years. This will pop up, and you'll be like, "Look at her."
Yeah, totally.
Can you say thank you?
Hey, Victoria says hi. I'm reading can you guys see the comments on your end or no?
No. Yeah, who's in the comments section? Victoria?
So, Victoria Murray is saying she's gold. Friend Leslie is loving this. Jeff Mentor popped in there. Good day.
Hey,
He was wearing a sweet shirt. Yep.
Did he say that?
Yep.
This Jeff Mentor right here. Shout out Jeff Mentor. Mentor
Nice.
team.
The Mentor team. He's Cooper sponsor, right? Yeah, he's Realty Executives sponsor.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Chadwick Lippian. Do you guys know Chadwick Lippian? I think there were a lot of people who lost momentum last year. It must be just another front watcher on LinkedIn. So again, thank you guys so much for your contribution. Appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Like I said, I'm invested in your success as a family. Because I vividly, every time I see you two, and when I saw you at the show, Zach, I'm like, I was telling my wife, we were going to, where were we going? Sauk for a hockey game or something. Yeah. I was like, man, I remember watching those two flirt with each other and come out of the office. Yeah. That was just a memorable time when we got started this, and so much fun. I'm glad I got the opportunity to share that with you guys. So thank you so much, guys, for popping on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Lane and Kristen, for having us. It's so great to see you.
Bye, Phoebe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.